Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and another video. So I thought I'd give an update on how I'm getting on with my new FTMO $100,000 swing account challenge, as it's been just over a month now since I started it. Some people were expecting me past, but unfortunately I managed to do the complete and utter opposite and failed it. Now, it really was pretty bad on my behalf. My primary rules when doing any challenges is always to get through, make sure at worst, get the free retake. And with FTMO, the other next option is to get to 5% to get another 14 days extension to be able to get to that 10% target. But obviously I didn't stick to any of those things, and it was an absolute disaster in my trading, primarily over a 2 or 3 day period, and I just couldn't recover. And in the end, I did the cardinal sin of going all in, and it went completely against me, and I lost that account in that challenge. But for me, I think it's being really honest and transparent with everything I do in my trading. That's obviously what I've built the channel on. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and say it's really easy and that I pass every single challenge, because, as I say, my main objective is to get free retakes, and some of the things, the challenges I pass, I've taken 5, 6, 7 attempts to actually get to where I need to be. Sometimes a particular month are such that the trading is really easy, the markets are going all in one direction, and whatever you buy or sell just happens to be a winning trade. I got caught out this time on the massive news around the UK pound, and the fact that it was actually crashing down below the 110 all the way down to 104. Now, when I was actually watching that, I looked at all the stuff on the budget announcements, and there was nothing there for me that really was actually going to cause the pound to really crash. Yes, there were some fundamentals in actually how it's being presented, but ultimately it was a growth budget, and therefore the pound for me should have reacted positively. So I was going in there and buying it. But unfortunately, the rest of the markets were wanting to sell it. Now, I got in on some good trades on some of the buys, and actually carried on some very good initial positions. I got into a profit. But then probably about a week, 2 weeks into it, that's when also the news really started coming out, and actually the pound was crashing. I just got caught out. I was losing like 1% after 1% after 1%. And before you knew it, I was down on the account and time was running out. So what I did, I set myself a target, just a daily objective, just to trade slowly, trade what I could see on the charts, not what I was thinking was going to happen on any particular currency pairs. And I actually did okay. I actually got myself to a point where I was actually getting out of it. Unfortunately, I couldn't trade for 2 or 3 days. I had to go away for some of the work stuff, going to the office, and I just couldn't have access to any of the apps on the phone, just got a bad phone signal. So when I actually got back onto the charts after a few day break, I literally was onto my last day of the challenge, and I had to make, I think it's about 1.5% to get back into break even. Now, going back 3-4 days, I could have easily done that, getting in sort of 0.5% per day, not a big problem. But again, when the pressure is on and you have to hit that target of getting to that break even point or just into a positive, that's when it really started to apply the pressure and all break down. What I did, I went in there and actually did a couple of trades in the morning. They were not fantastic, and they were slight losing trades. And obviously then pressure starts to build on. I'm sitting there for hour after hour waiting for a trade to come along. Nothing was materializing. And I got to the afternoon session when the US came on board and said, okay, fine, I just need to do something to gain that sort of 2% back. I placed a trade and it was just rubbish. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to have to let it run. I'm not going to worry about where I'm going to be, because I can't see any good trades to get me back out of where I am. So I just literally all in on a trade, boom or bust, and unfortunately it bust. It could have so easily have gone the other way and been a winner, but unfortunately these are things that happen in the markets when you're not focused, not trying to do it correctly. Generally things will move in the opposite direction you want them to. But with all things, failure in itself is not a bad thing. It allows us to go back and take a retrospective review, look at what was positive in that particular time and what was actually a real negative. Now for me, I've done a lot of thinking about the trading that period, why it wasn't very good. Now ultimately it comes down to, I was also doing another challenge with my Forex funds, and I wasn't prioritizing any particular one of them. I was just sort of drifting in between both and not giving the true focus to any one challenge. So for me going forward, I can only do one challenge at a time. Now, previously I've had 3-4 challenges running, sometimes with copy traders, sometimes just doing manual trades across them, but it just gets too much. I've got other stuff going on, I can't sit in front of the charts all day. So for me, biggest lesson learned is one challenge at a time. The next one for me is really understanding when markets are crashing. That in itself is probably not a good time for me to actually be going in there and trading. Yes, there are potential to make massive profits, but again, the actual losses that can be incurred are significantly greater. And for me, that's what's happened. It's always been a case of when markets are crashing, whether it been, let's go back a few years ago when the markets crashed through COVID and everything stopped. We're now seeing instability in the markets through around Ukraine conflicts, and obviously with the UK and the uncertainty around prime ministers. They're not great trading times for me, so for me, take a step back and wait for things to settle down, or look for markets that don't have that significant impact on them. And so the last thing to take away from this was, when things aren't going your way, obviously get that plan to move forward to get out of that bad situation. I did it, I actually worked the plan and got to almost the right point, but I didn't, just ran out of time. It's trying to assess and understand way before you get into that trouble and when to initiate that plan to get back into a break even, to then go for it. I was counting down to the final day to get to that break-even point, whereas theoretically I probably should have assessed that a few days before, enacted that plan, and then got out of it a week before and taken the pressure off. So again, lots of things to learn from this and take forward. So I'm not jumping into another challenge straight away, but what I will do is do it when the time is right. I might actually buy a challenge now, so at least I've done that initial investment, and also that doesn't start until you actually place your first trade. It's waiting for the time in the markets when it's good. It might be that this is actually a December time I take the challenge. Let's take another month off just to reflect, focus on other things, get my head straight, and then just go forward and do that challenge, get it passed, and then move on to the next one. So hopefully you've been able to take something away from this one, that although failure is not nice to do, we need to understand why it happened and take the lessons from that and move forward in a much positive way. So thanks all for watching, and I'll catch up again soon. Cheers!